Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we talk about our favorite video games and all things pop culture with an emphasis on our favorites. I'm your host, Jared, and our guest today is Christopher Stair. Christopher Stair is a prominent figure in the indie game development scene, currently serving as the creative director at Squid Shock Studios, based in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Chris is leading the development of the newly released Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, a 2.5D metroidvania game inspired by Japanese folklore, which is released on July 18th, 2024, across major platforms including Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch. Let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Razzle Dazzle Show, on TikTok at Razzle_Dazzle_Show, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Raz_Daz_pod. And with all that being said,
it's Razzle Dazzle time.
Hello, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to a good conversation.
Me too, man. So to start off, first of all, what's your favorite flower?
My favorite flower is a chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot, like, because in I guess we'll get to it, but in our game we talk a lot about, it's very has a lot of floral imagery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been pretty obsessed with flowers my whole life. So
okay,
I know that answer off the top of my head.
Are there any God, that's hard to say. Are there any of those type of flowers in the game?
There's one Tentai Hana, which is like the type of character Bo is, that has a chrysanthemum floral motif, yes.
Okay. Well, let's start at the beginning with you. Can you tell us, where did you grow up, and how would you describe the musical background of your childhood?
I grew up in Miami, Florida.
Really?
I was born there, yeah.
Me too.
Good old, yeah. Oh, no way.
Yeah, Miami. Kendall.
Cool. Doral.
Wow.
I think my sister went to Coral Gables High.
Wow, okay.
Is that Kendall? Yeah, I forget where Kendall is exactly, but I definitely know of Kendall. Yeah, I grew up in Doral and was there for 15 years and moved to California when I was 15 and did like high school, some college there.
Mm-hmm.
The musical background of my childhood, are we talking about literal music or is this like metaphorical?
Not literal music.
Okay, like, do I have a music background?
No, I mean, like, what kind of music did you grow up listening to?
Oh, okay.
What kind of music were your parents playing, you know?
I don't think my dad or mom really ever listened to music, to be honest, but I was super into music. I was into the whole screamo emo scene big time. Like, I guess like some of the like more well-known bands I was really into were like My Chemical Romance, Thursday, Thrice, some more obscure ones like Saves the Day, like Warped Tour shit. Like I was always super into that. But I had a very eclectic music taste. Like I was really into Django Reinhardt, which is like this gypsy guitarist, or classical Debussy, like impressionistic stuff. I love all kinds of music. Country. I was never really too picky, but my aesthetic was kind of like the emo kind of scene kid look, because that was really hot back in the early 2000s, Blink-182 and all that.
Yeah, I getcha. Did you have any instruments growing up in the household?
Yeah, so I play guitar.
I see one behind you.
Yeah, I haven't played that one in a while. It's a piece of crap, but I think like I am a very musical person. I was in a few bands in high school, none of them very good, but like I've been playing guitar for like 25 years now. Played bass in a couple bands.
Cool.
I did some singing, although like I don't think I'm a particularly good singer. A little bit of keyboard, percussion, stuff like that.
Right. Okay. My grandma has this saying whenever she like mentions she's a singer or whatever, she says she's a baritone. She sings so bad that people can hardly bear the tone.
That's clever.
Yeah. You said your parents didn't really play music around the house?
No, my father doesn't have a musical bone in his body.
Okay.
And my mom does play piano, but like not really.
Yeah.
Like active. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the first band or musician that really got your attention when you were young?
That's a good question. It probably would have had to been like Sum 41 or Blink-182 or something like that. Like that was a very, like Sum 41 circa 2001, 2002. Like that is like kind of what I based my whole like early identity on. I forgot to mention them earlier, but yes, Sum 41 or Blink-182, two of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah. And how have your musical taste evolved now? Like, what do you listen to now? Are you still big on that?
This is probably the first time I'm ever going to admit this publicly, so get ready. I got really into K-pop this past year.
Oh yeah.
Like I really dig what they're doing over there. New Jeans,
BTS, Blackpink.
I was always into like Big Bang way back when, but then I kind of like fell off for a while.
Yeah.
And then like with this new era, like their music sounds so fresh. The dance moves are sick. Like their music videos are like insane.
Yeah.
I also really like a band called XG. They're not they're not Korean. They're kind of K-pop. They're Japanese. It's a Japanese girl group, but they promote in Korea, and all their songs are in English. I'm actually going to see them on Sunday.
Cool.
Bangkok, so. Yeah. It's kind of weird, but like I do love all kinds of music. I think like while I'm working on Bo, our video game, I listen to a lot of chill hop.
Chill hop.
Repetitive and non-lyrical, helps me get in the mood.
So not lo-fi. Like what's the difference between chill hop and lo-fi? And
I think they're almost interchangeable at this point.
Okay.
But lo-fi would be hip hop. Chill hop would be a little bit more with like 808 drums and like a little bit more of a hip hop vibe than.
Oh, okay.
Chill hop is under the umbrella of lo-fi.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like synth wave and stuff like that. Got it. Okay, cool, man. That's awesome. If you like that type of stuff, I have to shout them out. There's this artist, his name is Cat System Core, and he does amazing like city pop type of deal. Like it's very mall vibes, but like it's awesome. I highly recommend it. He actually allows us to use his music for the show. And I just talked to him like not too long ago, and it's like a big deal because we've been using his music for like 3 or 4 years now. His episode's gonna come out. Sneak peek, everybody! His episode's gonna come out in February for our 5-year anniversary. But anyways, yeah, Cat System Core. If you like, that lo-fi umbrella term, you'll definitely like what he's got going on. Shout outs to him. So, okay, do you remember the first physical music you have owned that was yours?
Okay, the first CD I was gifted was a Three Doors Down CD. They did that song Kryptonite back in the early 2000s. And the first CD I think I ever bought with my own money was Give Up by the Postal Service, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. I remember those two, but I used to collect a bunch of CDs back when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have that collection?
Nah, maybe somewhere in my parents' house.
Understood.
I do vinyl now.
Did you have any video game consoles growing up?
I didn't get my first video console until a little bit later than most kids, I think. I don't even remember my age, but I remember everyone having one, and I didn't have one. So one Christmas, we got an N64.
Cool.
I believe it came with Super Smash Brothers, and then we got a bunch of other games for it after that. So I was definitely a Nintendo kid, if you want to pigeonhole me there. Like I never had a PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that. Always Nintendo. So the whole like down the line game after that was GameCube. We had it all. We were in the ecosystem.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. This is gonna be a broad question, but and it's gonna help us set up for Bo and Squid Shock. Where do video games fit into your life now?
I think there's a misconception that like video game designers might play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
I think like probably we do. I'll speak for myself, but like I probably play an above average amount of video games. Mm-hmm. And when I do, if they're in the correct genre, it's definitely a more of a different vibe. I'm looking them at like at a more analytical level, or I'll stop and like try and figure out how they did a certain video, like VFX, or really pay attention to some of the level design. Mm-hmm. But like if I just want to turn my brain off kind of gaming, I play like Overwatch 2 a lot.
Right.
I was really into I'm really into Slay the Spire. I got that on my iPad, so every night before going to sleep sometimes I'll play that. Yeah.
This next question I have is it requires some context, right, to fully understand. I work at an NPR PBS radio station in Southwest Florida called WGCU, and we have this other show called 3 Song Stories where we tell people's biography through music. The guest comes in, they pick 3 songs that every time they listen to these songs, immediately transports them back to a time and place that they have a significant story associated with. I wanted to ask you, since I'm also a part of that show, do you have one song story off the top of your head?
Okay. Without thinking too much off the top of my head, it'd have to be Love Lost by the Temper Trap. This song, it has a very haunting quality to it. And when I was before I was a video game designer, I worked as like a media development team for like an organization in New York. And I made this one like kind of music video for like kind of like a promotional video using this song, kind of like highlighting all of the events from the year. And this song, I was listening, it probably came out that year, and that's the reason why I used it. It really is, that year of my life was such a good experience. Like we worked with like college age kids to do service work in like impoverished countries. So we got to visit a lot of places, and I don't know, this song was kind of like the anthem. And like when I was editing that music video, like it was always playing, and it just has such a good feeling, nostalgic feeling for me. Always brings me back to that time. Very like formative experience, and like my first like foray into the professional world.
Right. I love that. Yeah. And how does that song fit into your life today?
I haven't, you asked me that question and I realized I haven't listened to that song in forever. And I haven't really like been listening to like much music lately either. So maybe I'll take a listen after this. All
right. Do you have a favorite video game?
I have a bunch of favorite video games, but I think like, Breath of the Wild was probably, it's a little cliche to say that, but there's a reason why a lot of people quote it. Yeah, quote it as their favorite game of all time. Just like the world they built there.
Yeah.
Even from a technical standpoint, I won't get too into it, but just like what they were able to accomplish on something like the Nintendo Switch is just like a feat that completely boggles my mind every time I play it. That game got me through a lot of hard times, and it definitely like inspired me a lot as an artist and as like a game designer.
Right, I love that. Then let's get to that. Let's talk about Squid Shock, your start into the game development world, and eventually Bo. But let's start at what were some of the first video games or other forms of media that sparked your interest into becoming a game developer?
Some of the games that really inspired me when I was younger were Paper Mario 64. That game had such a crazy stylization to it that a lot of other games weren't even trying to attempt to do. I liked the paper kind of like paper textures. And kind of like it was 2D, but like you could spin around and see like the thinness of each character. Like it just, and like everything was like kind of like a play. It kind of looked like a set for a play. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, it kind of like shifted my whole idea of like what art direction in a video game could look like. And then, when the indie game scene started popping off, I forget what year it was, but games like Braid and Limbo, especially. Limbo was like a very important game to me. It was another one with like very, very amazing art direction that kind of shifted my perspective on what games could be. And like, that's kind of when I started to want to be a game developer. And I have to mention Hollow Knight. Okay,
Hollow Knight, man.
That's another cliche thing to say, but yeah. If it wasn't for Hollow Knight, Bo would not exist.
Oh, of course, and you can like clearly see that. And I don't think that's a cliche. Like, these are great, popular games. Just because they're mainstream. Is that the word? I don't think that means it's a cliche to like them. Then can you share a bit about your journey, like first starting off into becoming a game developer? What were some of the key moments that led you to where you are today?
I owe becoming a game dev to the COVID-19 pandemic. You might have to censor that or something, but it's okay. Might get demonetized. But basically, like if that never happened, I wouldn't have had like
time,
the impetus. Yeah, like I had to pivot from what I was doing before in order to. And then I thought, like, I have a lot of time. We can't travel. We can't go places. So what can I do in front of my computer, right? And I thought, like, okay, now is as good a time as ever to pursue this dream of becoming a video game developer that I've always had. So, that was I think I started Bo by myself in 2020, and the team grew from there. But like I was just kind of doing the very early stages, designing the character, a little bit of the story and the world, and putting it in the Unity engine, kind of constructing like a prototype to see if it was something that would work.
This is the first game you ever started creating. So there weren't like any rough drafts or anything of anything else, huh?
No,
this is like
I went
the
from
thing.
Zero experience, like completely zero experience. I'm a visual artist, but I never even. It was always traditional.
Right.
I never touched like a digital art.
Right.
So, and I never programming and never like wrote a line of code.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the Unity, so I like started with a complete blank slate about 3.5 years ago, and yeah.
That's incredible. So obviously you guys advertise Bo as, Okami meets Hollow Knight. You mentioned Hollow Knight already. Okami, right? I would assume you've played Okami at this point.
Sure, yeah, we definitely, yeah.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah, right, it's amazing. I love it. So I want to ask, like, how did you just get this idea of, like, I want to mix these type of two games together into a single thing? Like, where did the actual spark of inspiration for Bo in particular come from?
Well, actually, I don't think I ever set out to be like, okay, we're going to make a game that's Okami and Hollow Knight.
Right.
It's just something that emerged naturally. Like,
okay.
I knew I wanted to make a game similar to Hollow Knight, to be honest. Like a metroidvania.
Yeah.
Kind of like hand-drawn, juxtaposing like kind of cute, simple visuals with hardcore like gameplay. So that's something that really appealed to me about Hollow Knight. I think it was a great, like, one part of the appeal of Hollow Knight. And then Okami was just kind of came along because I'm really into Japanese folklore and Japanese culture, and have been my whole life, and also the traditional art style that Japan has. So it just kind of naturally emerged that way.
Okay.
I don't think
I love
we
it.
ever set out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you've always had this idea of wanting it to be hand-drawn from the beginning?
Yeah, I always was like, I don't want to do something that looks too polished, or I've always been a huge fan of like organic line, textures. You can almost see the artist's effort and hand and almost like mistakes when you're looking at the artwork, like the sketchiness of it, or the ink bleeds, or the washes, the way the watercolor like leaves a certain distinct pattern on paper. So like that's always been, since my whole visual art career, is like playing with these kind of ideas visually. So that was always what, if I was gonna make a video game, it was gonna be something like that.
Understood.
I was uninterested in any other thing.
Gotcha. Have you ever taken up on sumi painting yourself?
I haven't, but I thought about it like during Bo. I was like, I should kind of try and do some sumi, but that I don't know. You need to buy supplies and stuff.
That's true.
I know that sounds like so easy to do, but it's just something like I forget to do, and it just never happens.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things where like, I'm gonna do that one day, tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow. Yeah, no, I get it. How did Squid Shock Studios come to be? What inspired you and Trevor to start this venture? You said you started off with this game on 2020 all by yourself. How did it go from there?
Right, yeah, so I started it by myself, but actually Squid Shock was formed before I started it by myself.
Oh, okay.
So we formed Squid Shock, I think like late 20... I don't know the dates, man. But,
it's okay.
We made one mobile app called Box Phrase. So I guess we did have some experience there, but like it was a totally different beast.
Yeah.
And we weren't even using Unity for that. We were using Xamarin, which I think is like completely obsolete these days. But we made a mobile app. It just like, it's like a party game where you guess the word or whatever. And then we were thinking about we were working on some other projects, but like on the side, I was like, I kind of want to do something bigger. And before I like brought it up to Trevor, I just wanted to make sure that like I wasn't going to waste his time. So I started working on Bo by myself without him knowing. And then once I finally was like, this might be good enough to kind of show Trevor and see if he wants to like pursue this. And I showed him and he loved it. And that was that.
Awesome. That's incredible. I was, of course, doing research on the studio, and from what I could find, the studio, I think as of right now, only has 4 members? Question mark?
Well, right now, technically we have 2.
2. Okay.
But over time, like, you know, we had contractors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to know who we consider a core member.
Right.
I think the only core members are Trevor and I, because we're the only people that have been on the project from the beginning till now. But there's probably been like 11 other people that have come in and out, including a musical composer, animator, an additional programmer, and other, cinematic animator, stuff like that.
Yeah, understood. Well, regardless, like, even if it's, we say the max is 11, but like the core team is 2, that is insane. I can't think of, I really can't, any other game development studio that has only such, like, less than a handful of members to make this beautiful, like, so it's so clean, it's so tight, like this amazing product of a game. And this week's episode that just released, one of our monthly episodes called the Delta series and stuff like that, it's where we like catch up with each other, me and my co-host, and we talk about like what we've been up to this past month or whatever. And of course I mentioned that I was playing Bo, so shout outs to you guys there. And I couldn't stop singing praises for you guys. And I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you, okay? Like, this is heartfelt. Like, this is actually how I feel. I think it is a perfect video game, and I don't like to throw that term out loosely, right? Because I love The Messenger and I love Sea of Stars. I think those are perfect games, right? And rightfully so. And I told my co-host, all you have to do to like get me hooked on this game or on a video game, if you tell me if it's hand-drawn and if it's a Metroidvania, that's exactly what this is. I love Okami, I love Hollow Knight. Boom. Perfect recipe for like me, the player, for my experience. I have had so much fun playing your game for like the past, I don't know, few weeks, like since it came out till like, it's been like what, 2 weeks now? And I've already 100%ed the like playthrough. I haven't platinumed it because you guys have some hard trophies to get, but
those are Kickstarter trophies.
I
like
know.
Kickstarter backers. Yeah, so blame them.
I will. Yeah, I know. It's like, dude, a run without dying, I can understand. A run without healing, I can understand. But like trying to do both of them at the same time, because of course, like, you want that challenge. That is rough, dude. And I will say, the thing that almost killed me was the
Asahi chasing.
No, not even. It was.
Okay.
It was the egg delivery side quest.
Oh yeah. That is a very controversial side quest.
Controversial?
Sure. Yeah. People either really hate it. Actually, I think people only really hate it, to be honest. It's a very masochistic quest.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like I sat down and really properly designed that quest. We recently just did a quality of life feature where there's like a saving shrine. Are you playing on computer or?
I was playing on PS5.
Okay, that's why. Yeah, so we made it a little bit, not easier, but we made it less frustrating.
Yeah.
You can reset and like, you don't have to like go back.
That's the part that sucked. Like, every time you die, you lose the thing. Then you have to go all the way back to the volcano and then go again. That's the part that was like a little tedious, but I just found out that like if I fast travel to the warp thing that's right next to the volcano, it's kind of makes it a little bit more streamlined, so I don't have to like backtrack.
Save quit to that shrine, but right before it.
True, yeah, but I eventually did it. Like, I spent my first playthrough was like 18 hours, and I spent a good majority of that time on just that one side quest. But I can't tell you. No, don't be sorry. No, because I can't tell you enough. Like, how hard games, right? Like, air quotes hard. Like, this is the Soulsborne effect of like throwing yourself against the wall repeatedly until like your bones break. But like once you get through that, the dopamine or like just the effect of like the feeling of accomplishment of getting that, it's like irreplaceable, you know? It's so when I finally managed to complete that, because that was like the last thing I had to do before going to the final area, I felt so good, dude. Like I feel like I really accomplished. I feel like I really climbed a mountain. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
good.
I'm glad then.
Yeah, good on you. But yeah, I've had the most fun playing this game. I really couldn't put it down. Like what all the stuff I've been the show's been tweeting out to you guys on Twitter, like I couldn't put this game down for the longest time, for this entire time until I beat it. And it's an amazing, great time. I love Metroidvanias. I love that, you know, of course there's the Hollow Knight and Okami inspirations of it, but also like I don't know if you guys did, but you know, the pogoing kind of really reminds me of the Messenger a lot, because you know, or Shovel Knight maybe too, you know. So there's so many aspects of this that I absolutely love, and I too also love like Japanese yokai stuff. So you know, I love Okami. I love how it's like, I love that Okami is like a Zelda game basically, but like feudal Japan stuff, and like seeing that just transferred into Bow, it's a recipe for success. So amazing job to you guys. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. And that means a lot, because I can tell you, you know, actually played the, if you did the Fragile Egg Quest, I know you know what you're talking about. So that's really nice to hear that you genuinely and sincerely appreciated the game.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't really gone this is honestly the first time I've gotten to talk to someone, like I guess a civilian or
Sure. Yeah, player.
Like who hasn't player who actually finished the game, like in person.
Really?
I've been chatting with people on like our Discord and stuff, but like face to face.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, man. And I can't stress enough how many times I just sat on any like cinematic moment, or like, you know, almost any kind of setting in the game. I just sat there and just looked and like just saw, or like, you know, just paid attention to the art, especially with the characters, because I absolutely love how, especially with the dragon, this is where like I really noticed it, how the art will like move with the dragon, especially like with its like cloudy mane and stuff, and how like that looks like in motion and all that stuff. Like I took the time to like really sit down and appreciate the art. I even like pulled my partner like from the other room, and I'm like, look how pretty this is, man. Wow. Like it's phenomenal. I love like the visual effects. Like I think default the game has the contrast off, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's still pretty, it's still awesome. I turned it on and I saw like all the different lighting effects and the shading and the glowing stuff, and I'm like, oh, so this is how the game is meant to be played.
Oh, wait. I'm curious about that. So it had something turned off in the beginning?
High contrast?
It was on in the beginning or off? You can edit this part out, but like I just want to know like technically, because I haven't actually played on PS5.
Oh, got it. I think it was off by default, but I know I checked through like the options first, like the settings, before I even started the game. Maybe I messed with it. Maybe I turned it off before I started. I could be misremembering.
Okay, the way I intended it to look was with it off.
Really? So, that's interesting.
But you know, it might look different on PS5. It's so sad that we don't have dev kits yet, but I still haven't seen it on PS5. But yeah, actually, consoles are like 3 patches behind Steam. On Steam, like there's sliders that you can mess around with.
So cool.
And you can actually make the game black and white. It looks really sick.
Yo, that's like, oh my god, that's so interesting. Intended to have the high contrast off.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm not really sure what you're looking at.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
yeah. Regardless, on or off, it looks beautiful. And I just have this thing for hand-drawn video games, and it's also like taking into account the painstakingly, you know, how just the effort, like how much effort it must take to make something like this look this great, and you know how much time it takes, you know, just the appreciation for the artists and their effort and time. But also it's just like, I can't stand how good everything looks. Background stuff, foreground stuff, like it's okay.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time like painstakingly, like in every scene, kind of making it look different. And there are definitely scenes that you can tell I spent a little more time on.
Yeah.
But we are committed to actually improving more of the look over time. It's kind of ran out of time a little bit, but there are definitely scenes where I've spent like days over time going back and like just placing things and making it look like a painting or like an art piece.
And you accomplish that 100%. And especially with the cinematic cutscenes, like the very few it has, but it has like what, 5 or 6. It looks so good. It's so fluid. It's so pretty, and like it makes me want a little show or like, you know, YouTube mini shorts stuff of like different scenarios, or hell, I mean, like it's easy to say this, but if there was to be a show with Bo, I think the art style can really carry it far, like on top of the already emotional journey that people go through.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about that too.
Yeah,
like doing a show of some kind. By the way, those animated cutscenes are done by Marlene Animates, who is like a Polish animator that I found on Twitter, and like she absolutely knocked it out of the park with those. We wanted to do more of those. It's just like time, budget, whatever. But you know, she's very open to continue working with us, and like I would love to do more stuff like that in the Bo universe.
Yeah. Oh man. So okay, like I said, it's hard to stop praising this game because of how great it is. But okay, to get to the questions I still have for you.
No problem. I got time.
So we already talked about how Japanese folklore influenced the game design and story. Can you talk about some of the gameplay mechanics and, you know, how some of the design elements for that came about? Like, you know, the transforming earring, you know, like that's a really cool thing that I haven't really seen much. Like I've seen like other shows and I think other games that has like these spirits usually have an item that lock them or anchor them to like the mortal plane or whatever, but not really used as like a weapon or a tool. It's just like a thing, a device. But seeing this be used like Bo's earring as like an actual weapon, as an actual tool, and that it can transform, I think is a really cool idea. So could you explain?
Yeah, that kind of came, like, it all started with Bo, right? Bo, the character Bo is a creature type that I created called Tentai Hana. And they're flowers that are blessed by the gods, and they have like an animal spirit that blooms from within the flower. And each of them are also given a gift, which is a celestial relic from their god. Bo's kami, or we say kami in Japanese, but Bo's kami is Tsukuyomi, which is the moon god. And Tsukuyomi gave Bo an earring as the celestial relic, the equinox earring, and it can transform into different things. That all came from, like, I was looking up famous like Bo staff users in mythology, and the number one thing that would always come up, probably like one of the only ones,
Son Goku,
is Wukong from Chinese mythology. So it's a little interesting that came from Chinese mythology. And then I don't know if you know, but Wukong, his staff shrinks down and he puts it inside his ear.
Oh, okay.
So that's where the earring idea came from. And then it was also a way of like, just like a very technical, practical way of like not having to show where the staff goes and animate the staff while he's not using it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why that happens. But like, yeah, every other Tentai Han in the game have like a relic too. So like Asahi has their the key of enlightenment.
Yeah.
Rogan has the eye of the amulet of omniscience. Anyway, they all have various items that not all of them are weapons. Some just have like magic abilities or something like that.
Yeah.
Some are like useless. Some are very powerful. Yeah. So that's kind of where that whole idea came from. How do we make more weapons and where do they come from? It's a transforming earring.
Yeah. I love it. Why a lotus? And is there any significance to the color?
Yeah, the color teal is in the game is very symbolic of the moon. So there's two colors that have a very deep meaning in the game, which is vermilion and teal. Vermilion representing the sun and Amaterasu, the sun kami, and teal representing the moon and Tsukuyomi. This is actually kind of like meta level stuff that's not really mentioned in the game.
Yeah, but like I love it.
It's there if you look for it, for sure, and maybe it will be elucidated at a further date. But so that's where the color comes from. And then actually in the beginning, Bo was not, I hadn't thought of what a Tentahana was. that was not an idea I had right from the beginning. Bo was just going to be a literal fox like thing with like a cloak. And the cloak kind of like in the original design, it was just like a little robe. And I was like, it would be interesting if these were flower petals, wouldn't they? So we messed around with some designs of like making them look like flower petals. And I'm like, okay, what's like a East Asian flower that you associate with like Japan? I thought like a lotus would work, and the petals seemed to like take the shape of a lotus. And then from there, I like extrapolated that into the whole Tentahana lore of like every one of them has a different flower. there's I don't know how many there are, to be honest. I should know this, but there's probably like 15 Tentahana that you run into the game.
Right.
More than that probably, but yeah. So that's where the Teal Lotus came from. Also, the lotus has like a very symbolic meaning of like coming from, lotus flowers grow from the mud.
Yeah.
And they grow all the way up to the surface of the water and like bloom. So they have this
depths, darkest depths to like coming up to the light or something.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that symbolic meaning in there too.
Yeah.
And when I design these characters, all the flowers are chosen very deliberately of like what those flowers, why is this character embodying this flower or this animal? I don't know if I should go an example, but like, yeah, they're all very deliberate choices.
Right. Like Asahi.
Like the symbolic meanings. Like I look up what this flower means in Japanese culture.
Yeah.
What this animal means in Japanese culture. And try and like imbue that onto the character. Or if I already have like the personality, I like retrofit the flower, or I don't know. Usually one or the other comes first.
Right. Yeah. Like Asahi. Am I saying that right? Asahi.
Yeah.
Asahi and the sunflower motif, right? And I love that, since sun, God, sun, Tentahana, sunflower, then bow, moon, all that stuff. I love that symbolism. I love that, not yin and yang, but like, the contrasting differences and like different meanings. Yeah, I love that type of stuff, man. God, it's so cool. What were some of the significant challenges you faced during the development of this game, and how did you overcome them?
I think like midway through, like the game started getting a lot more attention. And the expectation, when we did the Kickstarter, obviously we were like, what the F? There was way too many people who were like had this really high expectation for the game, and like we made way more money than we thought we were going to make. And that was when it kind of hit me as like, we have to start taking this very seriously now. Before it was just like, we're making a game, like nobody cares, like let's just have fun. And then when the backers came, it's like they gave us their money, we need to
shut up and take my money.
Yeah, so that's when I started getting really serious, and like it was like, okay, we have to strap down and like really create a team that could make something that would ship, because it's an extremely difficult endeavor to ship a game.
Yeah.
So started building like a more of a proper team. At that point, we were 4 people, just me, the composer and animator, and Trevor, the programmer. And then we expanded, like I told you. So that was the biggest challenge. And then like just the expectation that the game had. And it's like we had no experience, so we definitely got like some more experienced people on. We had Milton Guasti, who worked on Ori and the Will of the Wisps and AM2R.
Wow.
Who like level design, which we wouldn't have happened without him. Like there was a point where I was just like paralyzed. I couldn't like decide how this area should be designed.
Yeah.
He stepped in and really like took my whatever creative energy and my ideas and like made it into something tangible.
Yeah.
So I don't know, there was tons of challenges. I think the biggest one was just like dealing with all the expectation that our game had and trying to meet those expectations. And
I think you blew those expectations out of the water, in my opinion. Are there any favorite moments or a favorite feature you have from Bo that players should look out for if they haven't played?
And people might disagree with me, but the grapple from our game is probably the most fun. Like
it's so fun.
If you understand the nuances of the grapple, some people are kind of, it doesn't click with some people, and I understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's very, it gives you too much agency almost. So like, usually, you want some like assistance or like slow down time or something.
Sure.
But like, I didn't want Bo to be like that. I wanted to like give the player complete agency and like the angles that they choose, and like, there's a lot of nuances in the player controller that like get lost on some people. And I whenever I watch some people play, it's like, oh, you're not even engaging with the system like at all. Like they didn't, they don't read the tutorial, which is fine. I understand that, but like then they'll criticize like something about the player controller, and it's like, no, that you just are looking at it from the wrong frame. Yeah, you have to. It's a new thing. It's not what you're used to.
Yeah.
So. But I've seen players catch on to that, and when it clicks for them, they're like, whoa, this is different than I thought. Like this is much deeper than I thought. And when that clicks, that's like a breath of fresh air to me. And we have a bunch of like the speedrunning community is really popping off right now, because like the speedrunners get that. They frame by frame, they're like,
they break it down,
know what to do. So that's a very good sign that we did something right with the player controller. Yeah, the grapple from our game is like super fun once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer if you put like a grapple or a hook shot in any game, and if it works properly for that game, it makes the game experience like so much better in so many ways. It took me a second to fully understand the grapple, but like once I got it, I was like flying through the air of the fox area. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, Midori Forest.
Midori Forest. Oh my god. Speaking, I'm so sorry. I'm getting excited. Midori Forest is definitely like my favorite area of the game, and I don't know if this is intentional. I don't think it is, but do you know if like the music for Midori Forest or like the mountains or the music for it, was it at all inspired by like Xenoblade?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. That's why I was nodding. No, but funnily enough, Xenoblade... actually, no, it was. Yes, absolutely it was, because our composer is a huge fan of Manami Kyoto, who did the Xenoblade music.
Yeah.
And actually, Manami Kyoto did 2 songs for Bow. I don't know if you know this.
No.
Yeah, so the composer for Xenoblade 3 and also some Super Smash Brothers tracks did 2 guest tracks, which is the Gashadokuro boss theme and the Celestial Realm theme that plays at the very end.
Yeah.
But he got to work with her, and she is one of his heroes, like our original composer. So he's really inspired by that. But I would say like the Midori Forest theme in particular was inspired by Joe Hisaishi, who's the composer for like Studio Ghibli.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that DNA mixed with some Manami Kyoto DNA.
That's so cool, man. I asked Xenoblade because, I was grinding for Foxfires because I had to, 8,000 of them in the mountain area.
We changed that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. So now it's like if you accumulated 8,000 throughout your playthrough.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, no, it should have been like that. We messed up.
It's okay.
The economy was a little... We fixed the whole economy in the last patch on PC.
Understood.
Because people were complaining. Yeah. But you're one of the guys who did the
legwork.
The real achievement.
Yeah. That also added to my 18-hour playthrough. But so I had a lot of time to like sit there and listen to the music, which I love. Again, the entire soundtrack is phenomenal. But in the mountain area, I was like, I'm getting some like Valak Mountain vibes from Xenoblade 1 here, and I am loving it. I love everything about it.
Yeah, they're for sure. I don't know the extent to how he was influenced by Xenoblade.
Yeah.
Definitely. He was inspired a lot by the Monster Hunter series, Xenoblade, Ghibli, and of course, like all the Zeldas. Music.
God, I love this. Such a great game. All right. Well, I think this is a good time to, before we get into the speed round, I think this is a good time to plug the Patreon for the Bow plushie, if you want to give a little pitch for that.
Right. So some of you might have heard like our publisher Humble Games shut down like a few days after we launched the game, which is crazy. And we're still like kind of picking up the pieces from that. So, in an effort to kind of like take things into our own hands, I wanted to start a Patreon. I always wanted to start a Patreon to kind of like give back like people access to like the game design process. But I was just like, okay, now's the time to do it, because now we don't necessarily need, we're not like hurting for money or anything, but like I don't like having to rely on like unknowns. So the Patreon we just started, and we are going to be sharing a lot of like we're going to be doing a lot of updates and adding stuff to the main game over time. And as we develop that, we really want to get feedback from the community and have them vote on stuff, have them participate in the design. So that's something that Patreon is going to allow the player base to do. And furthermore, like we have a lot of requests for the Bow plushie, and we are doing a campaign with Makeship from August 15th to September 15th, 2024, in which you can purchase a limited edition Bow plushie. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, man. By the time this episode releases, we should be halfway into that campaign, and you can definitely rely on the Razzle Dazzle Show being a Patreon member for that. I really wish I found Bow while it was still in the Kickstarter fundraising phase, because I would have donated in a heartbeat. But I didn't find out about the game until like 2, maybe 3 months before the release, because it just came up on Twitter, and I was like, holy shit, what is this? Immediately got obsessed. So yeah, man. Listeners, if you love this game, and I know you will if you play it, please go ahead and check out that Patreon. Links will be in the description down below to everything once it's up. All right, now let's get into the speed round where I'm going to ask you a bunch of silly random questions and we're going to see how you do. Are you ready?
Okay.
If you were the final boss in a video game, what would your title be?
Control freak.
Control freak. Ooh.
The control freak.
The control freak.
It's a little bit of tongue in cheek there. Like, I don't think I'm that bad, but like as a director, I definitely always try to tend to little things here and there. A little bit of a control freak.
Yeah, understood. What would your boss theme music be? And you can choose any song from anywhere.
Oh wow. Maybe that theme, the theme song from the Breath of the Wild DLC when you're fighting the monk.
Oh, Monk Mascotia?
Yeah, that song slaps.
And what a fight too, man.
Yeah, great fight.
God.
That music though, like, is some of the best boss music.
Yeah. So is it safe to say you're a big Zelda fan?
Huge Zelda fan.
Me too.
I can't say that I played every title,
Right.
but more of the more recent ones, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge Zelda fan. Zelda's like my favorite thing ever, right? And yeah, do you have a favorite game? This is not part of the speed round. This is not even on the script, but I'm just asking since I want to nerd out a little.
A favorite Zelda game?
Yeah.
Other than Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
I think Ocarina of Time. Yeah. That was another very formative game for me on N64.
Yeah, man. It's a great pick. Mine is the Minish Cap.
Oh, I haven't played that one.
It's great, dude. It's
I haven't played any of the handheld ones.
Oh,
except
okay.
for like Link's Awakening and like some of the older ones.
Gotcha. It's on the Nintendo online thingamabob now. So
Oh, right.
I highly recommend it. It's like, it's a perfect, I think it's a perfect game to showcase like what a 2D Zelda is. It's not long at all. It's very like, it's very condensed and it's small but big, and that's like kind of the bit with the Minish Cap because you get to shrink and grow and stuff like that. It's highly recommend.
Oh, cool. I'll check it out.
If you were a superhero, what would your name be?
Big head.
And what would your powers be?
And it's not even because I'm smart. It's because I'm trying to convey myself as being intelligent. It's just because I actually have a very large head that it's hard for me to find hats that fit. I guess my power would be like I could slam it on things. It'd be kind of like my weapon.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Are you being like for real about finding hats?
Yeah, for real. Like
okay.
I've been gifted hats in the past, and like it's just they never fit. And I can wear like those very big. You have to get a specific like big hat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Understood.
It's hard out here for me.
I thought it was a bit at first.
No, I have a huge head. It's abnormally large. It's like top 99 percentile.
If you can live in the world of your favorite childhood show, movie, or video game, which one would it be and why?
Wow. Maybe that's a good question. Probably like, I don't know. I think, just because of how cool it'd be to have like a superpower, maybe like My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But you said childhood. That's not part of my childhood.
No.
I don't know. Adventure Time seemed like kind of a cool place to hang out. It's a little weird. I'd probably go insane, but I like that world a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
The
Adventure
Land
Time.
of Ooh. Got it. Which character from your childhood favorite show, movie, or video game would you most like to have as a friend in real life?
Maybe someone like, maybe someone like Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. He just seems like a very positive force who can kind of like cheer you up at any given moment and like handle shit. Too. Like, yeah. He's a really, really well-written character. I like him.
Understood. If your current favorite show or movie were to be adapted into a musical, what genre of music would you envision for it?
Well, my favorite show, like I guess like a show that I watch a lot is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I feel like
it's a good show.
Like if you had to pick one that I definitely watched the most of is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've seen it so many times. Would be like, I guess the music would have to be kind of like jazzy, kind of like Cowboy Bebop type music.
Hell yeah.
I guess that's jazz, right? Like
yeah, definitely.
I think it's bebop. I think that it's bebop is the name of the jazz.
You got it.
Genre, right? Yeah. Okay. That's why it's called Cowboy Bebop.
I love that. Oh my god, yeah, Cowboy Bebop is definitely my favorite anime. Period. And Samurai Champloo, like.
Oh yeah.
How can you not like both of those? Shit. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I have the not the first, but I have a vinyl for Samurai Champloo, and I have like 3 different vinyls for Cowboy Bebop, and God, those shows are incredible. If you could attend any fictional event, for example, the Ewok celebration in Star Wars Episode 6, which one would it be and why?
I want to give a good answer. I think of like a bunch of like dumb ones, but maybe like the day in which the Colossal Titan and the Tank Titan first attacked the walls of Paradise in Attack on Titan.
Wow.
Yeah, so like that in the anime, it's just like so epic, and like, just experiencing that. Like obviously, it's a terrible, like horrifying
massacre.
Scene, but like it would just be like that'd be the way to go. I feel like if you're gonna die, be like stepped on or like thrown like across like a couple miles by a giant, like terrifying Titan.
Yeah, especially like, you know, you're in like a safe bubble, like very high up, just looking down at the thing happening. Like, that's just a cool, sad, and terrible thing to see, but very freaking cool. I get you, man. If you could have a cameo appearance in any movie or show, which one would it be and what role would you play?
I guess I go with Brooklyn Nine-Nine again. I just like would like to meet the cast from that show. They're all some of my favorite actors and seem like really amazing people.
Yeah.
Like thinking about working with them. I guess my cameo could be just like some criminal or something. Like,
you're one of the criminals that are lined up singing Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best cold opening of any show ever.
That's so true.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
Is there a cameo of you in Bo at all?
I think every character has a little bit of me in them, because I wrote all the dialogue and all that stuff, so definitely different aspects of my personality come out, but nothing that is like truly me.
Yeah.
Like specifically. However, the Fox Bride and the Fox Groom, Fumie is my mother's name.
Oh.
And my father's name is Peter, and which means rock, you know, the etymology. And Iwao is like rock in Japanese. So Fumie and Iwao, the bride and the groom, are named after my parents.
I love that. And that reminds me.
So a little detail, like my dad's favorite flower is chrysanthemum, and my mom's favorite flower is a tulip. Both of those characters have a chrysanthemum and a tulip on their waist.
Aw, that's so beautiful.
My way of paying tribute to them.
Yeah, I love that so much. I really loved like those side quests for that couple, and also that boss fight in Midori Forest. Absolutely love like the nine-tailed fox and everything. It took me a minute.
Another controversial part of the game.
It's rough a little, you know, just like all those fireworks. Also, really cool thing that it shoots fireworks, because that's also like a big Eastern thing, I guess, in culture, you know. And you know, if anything else other than Bo's design were, and Asahi's especially, were to drive like the Okami connection, there we go with that boss. And thank you. I don't think people get thanked enough for this type of stuff. Thank you for letting us pet the dog and the nine-tailed fox.
Yeah, we knew we had to do the dog. And I was like, do we have the resources to program this giant fox? And like, I was like, we gotta do it because it's just so awesome. Like originally we were just gonna have her disappear.
Yeah.
After the boss fight, but I'm like, we should be able to pet her.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that we can.
It's a memorable moment. And I'm all about those little memorable moments.
Yes. Yeah, man, I love it. If you had to guess, what would you say is the song you've listened to the most times in your life?
Wow. I could tell you what I've been listening to a lot recently.
Yeah.
It's on some playlist that it's like on a pump up playlist. It's not too deep or anything, but it gets me going. Is Edamame by BB No Money and Rich Brian. It's like a rap song, but like the beat is so funky and like adrenaline pumping. It just gets me. If I hear that first thing in the morning, like it's impossible to have a bad day. It's just like I'm pumped.
I love that. Yeah, man. Love it. What activities or pursuits most make you lose track of time?
Definitely gaming.
Yeah.
Like when I'm in a good gaming session, like where does the time go?
Yeah.
The entire day's gone. Like on my days off, like if I make the stupid decision to start like playing Overwatch on my day off, like they can easily like disappear.
Understood. What would your 14-year-old self think of who you are today?
Oh, he would be like pretty. I think he'd be happy. I think he would. Especially now that we've completed the game and stuff, like when I was 14, I was like, I want to do something with art in my life, but like, you know, you're always told that it's not going to work out or you're not going to make any money. And it's like, guess what? 14-year-old Chris, we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really good to, I would love to meet my 14-year-old self just to say like, it's going to be okay, dude.
I love that. Yeah, man. Well, it is now time for you to recommend 3 people that you're going to share this episode with when it comes out and that you're going to help me get on the show that you think they'll say yes.
Okay, I thought about this a lot. Not a lot, but when you mentioned it earlier, I did think about it. So number 1 would be Josh Chambers, who is like, he's making a game now called Layers Deep. So you play as a little onion, and it's inspired by Over the Garden Wall.
Yeah.
And I actually just met him, and he's where I was like 3 years ago. Right now in his game, and it's just so like refreshing to see. He's a good guy, incredibly talented, and I'm very excited to see what he does with that game.
Didn't you just have him on your studio's podcast?
That's true. I'm surprised you know that.
I do my research. I'm very thorough, or I try to be.
You really do. You did the Fragile Egg quest. You definitely do your research. Yeah. So we did a podcast with him, and we became friends, and we're chatting like regularly about like development and stuff. So that's good. I think he would definitely be more than happy to come on here. Another friend of mine who lives in Osaka, Japan, is working on a game called Last Time I Saw You, which is like a Japanese narrative-driven game set in the 1980s, I believe.
Oh.
In Japan, 1980s Japan, and he's just another great dev that we've met. And then another dev, Dave Mauro, who is working on a game called, based off the Little Nemo IP, which is Creative Commons. It's called Little Nemo Guardians of Slumberland. But yeah, he is also someone who helped us a lot throughout development because he's a coding genius, like Megamind stuff. Like he is really, really talented, and he just helped us so much, and his game is super awesome, and just wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah, let's do what we can to get them on the show. I'm very excited to get to have the chance to talk to them. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think anyone wants any kind of creative person out there who has like any kind of creative DNA in them, like get up right now after listening to this podcast and start planning out like what project you want to do in your life, because making this game, Bo, was an incredible journey. It was not without its extreme challenges and like resentment sometimes of like having chosen this path because it's so freaking difficult. But like if I can do it, anybody can, and it's definitely the most fulfilling thing I've done in my life. So start.
I guess you can say you've traveled the path of the Teal Lotus.
That's true, and it was rough.
Well, thank you so much, Chris, for being on the show. This has been amazing. Just thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. It was a really great interview, like one of the best I've done. So.
Oh, that means so much to hear.
Yeah, really fun. Great questions.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Razzle Dazzle Show. If you want to hear more from Chris, please check out his website at squidshockstudios.com and make sure to follow them on their socials at Squid Shock Studios on Instagram, at Squid Shock on X, formerly known as Twitter, their Facebook at Squid Shock Studios, and be sure to check them out on their YouTube channel at Squid Shock Studios. And if you love Metroidvania games inspired by Japanese folklore, I highly recommend checking out Bo Path of the Teal Lotus. It's an amazing game with amazing art styles and amazing gameplay, and I think you will really enjoy it. And if you want to further support Squid Shock Studios and Bo, consider joining their Patreon. Links to everything will be in the description down below. Please let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. Be sure to leave us 5-star ratings and a nice little written review down below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Next time on The Razzle Dazzle Show.
When I have to compose music for a certain thing, I go to my reference tracks, and definitely those will be my reference for music and mountain type of songs, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, even for example, for the cave, I went to the Tefra cave and in Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, these resources from these instruments are very useful. I have to like think that these really convey the feeling and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I just have to make sure that even though I borrow some resources, I have to keep it original with the melodies and stuff like that.
Tune in next time.